radio station. And I love you guys. Ask and you shall receive. So during the break, I got a text from a friend, Flint Minshew, and he was like, hey, we've been there since the beginning, talking about the Neshoba County Fair. And I was trying to figure out who out there, maybe listening to good things, has been there the longest. Flint, it's going to be hard to beat your mother. She is 87 years wise, and she's never missed a Neshoba County Fair. How did your family get started going to the fair?
So the Gardners, hey, Rebecca, by the way, hello.
Hey.
And, so the Gardners are from Dixon, which is a few miles up the road toward Forest. And when the fair started, they literally, my mother says, now, and this precedes her, but that they used to park their wagon in where our spot is right now, and we happen to be cabin number 1. I don't think it's always been that numbered like that or whatever, but as long as I can remember, we've been cabin number 1.
And you are 53 years wise, and so you don't remember a July where you weren't at the Neshoba County Fair.
That's correct. Actually, I used to tell people, if it wasn't for the COVID year, this would have been my 54th year, because obviously I was there as like an 8-month-old or whatever. And, but, they didn't have the fair during COVID. And then there also, I think it was World War II. They didn't have the fair for 4 or 6 years. And literally after that, my grandfather had like 8 or 9 brothers and sisters. And he was the only one that wanted the fair cabin. And so that's how it ended up just our family.
What a wise investment he had, at least down there.
Thank goodness. Can you imagine how many people would be? We sleep like 25 or 26 now, conventionally, and have been known to sleep more than that.
It is nuts, Flint.
It worked out good for our little part of the family.
It's nuts for those of us on the outside who maybe come in for the Neshoba County Fair because a friend convinces us to come for one of the great entertainments for the horse races. I know this week it's gearing up for the politics debates. And they start to walk around the square, and from the outside, you're like, this is a little town. This is a pop-up miniature town, this time of year. And then they walk into the cabins and they think, well, it's not luxury living by any stretch of the imagination. So what is the draw to keep it? Like, over the years, you guys have not touched, for the most part, have not renovated up to like modern standards in all capacities in the cabins. I'm sure there's been repairs made and upgrades and things, but what is it collectively with the community that keeps it like kind of stuck in time?
So a lot of it, like for my family, for instance, pretty much half of my family's in Florida, and we got together as young adults, and we all had young children at the time, and we just said, we actually rebuilt the cabin. It was like 25 years ago, and that cabin is the third cabin that sits on our spot. There was a 1-story cabin. Then my grandfather built a 2-story cabin, and then in roughly 1997, I tore down the cabin and built another cabin. But we made a collective decision as a family that we wanted to raise our kids as cousins, and we all committed to doing that. And now, even though those people are my first cousins and their kids are like my kids' third cousins, they all grew up each year going to the fair together, and they're still very close to this day. And so for us, it's very much a family event. And I think for a lot of them, it's that way too. It's a time, and when you're somebody like me that grew up at the fair as a kid, and then I've raised my kids, and my kids now, even though none of them are married or have children, they talk about, and I hear them talking about with their cousins, hey, we're going to bring our kids back here, and this is going to be part of their childhood.
And it definitely is, and it's like one of those things, if you don't know, you can't really grasp it until you go. And then once you go, even if you are someone who hadn't grown up there and taken time to really sit back, sink in, and watch the people on the front porches, look at the community feast and fellowship that's going on, you can see where this would just become a family tradition quick, like in a hurry. But the cool part is it really can't be a family tradition for too many families to get started, because you guys are locked in there and not really letting go of those houses very often. I mean, if they come up, it's like, prime real estate.
Yeah, I would say I think there's actually like 600 cabins out there and another few hundred RV spots, and they don't turn over very often. A lot of times what you see are families that, they kind of split off and and then they decide to sell because everybody's moved off. But for the most part, no, you might see 5 or 6 a year change hands, maybe, and that might be it.
Well, there's plenty of good entertainment. I know there are fair-type rides. There are a lot of things for those that don't have a place to stay to still be able to come in and enjoy. You got the politics that only happened this week. What do you explain it to people? If you say, oh, this is your first time coming to the Neshoba County Fair, make sure you do what and bring what, Flint?
So, you got to preface that conversation a little bit because you've got the day fair and you've got the night fair, and typically people who try to do both don't last very long. So, some people are there for the politics, some people are there for the entertainment and the music. The good thing being where we are, we get to do a little bit of all of it and take a nap in between. And living in Brandon, we're close enough that we can run. Like, I'm actually home right now and I'll go back tomorrow. My check liver light was on, so I needed a little bit of a break. And, but anyway, so you kind of vet what they're coming for. You can come up there with little kids, ride rides, horse races. They always have children's events. Or you can come up there and make it like a redneck Mardi Gras. And then there's a little bit of in between all over. So you can do pretty much whatever you want.
Have you ever partaken in the chair races, Flint? I hear that if you want a good spot for any of the concerts that will be happening, you have to wait out till they open the gates and then run like the Dickens with your chair to get a good spot.
Oh, yeah.
Or do you just sort of say, hey, I can hear the music from wherever?
No, we're very much partaking. Actually, my kids have been trained to chair race. I've still got some scars on my shins and calves from chair racing. So, no, I was put out there at a very young age by my parents and grandparents to chair race, even when I didn't want to go to the concerts. And all of our kids have grown up doing the same thing. So, no, we're very much. We very much partake in the chair races.
I don't think people appreciate the fact that Neshoba County Fair, I guess the fairgrounds, Founder Square, it literally comes alive for a very short period of time. When does the electricity get turned on, Flint? When can your family start getting prepared for everybody coming in to visit?
So the electricity and the water turns on, and it's some funny thing like the second Tuesday in May or something like that. And so you typically go up there. A lot of times you might have some frozen, some pipes that are bursted or whatever. We do a big party up there Father's Day, and we actually call it Minshoba. But you'll see people up there for the 4th. They've done some like hog cooking competitions up there around the 4th of July, and then everything shuts off typically about 2 weeks after the fair. So we literally pack it up, drain the water lines, do all the preventive maintenance we can do, and that thing shuts down until and if you wanted to do some construction up there, you'd have to take a generator or whatnot because the electricity's not coming on again until May.
Well, it's definitely something special. People should at least experience it once. I know the rest of this weekend, SuperTalk will be there on Wednesday and Thursday for all of the talking heads that will be talking politics. You got your seersucker suit or your linen breeches ready for all the politics that are headed your way in Founder Square?
No, they can come by and see me, but Rebecca, you know me well enough to know I'm not dressing like that. I'm in shorts and a flip-flops and the coolest shirt I can find.
I'm picking
But hey, anybody wants to come through, we have leaded and unleaded drinks, and we always we welcome about anybody who wants to come by and visit.
Well, there's nobody in a bad mood at the Neshoba County Fair. I can guarantee you that. It's always full of laughing people, lots of good times, good music. It's really cool. And now I wait. So now we see your mom. Your mom holds the spot, Flint. What's your mom's lovely name?
Rita Faye Minshew. She was a gardener, and then my father was a Minshew. But
87.
The gardeners are from Dixon, right there up the road.
We'll see if anybody can beat your mama. 87 years at the Neshoba County Fair. I appreciate your text, Flint. You guys have the best time, and maybe we'll see you around. Okay?
Hey, and congratulations on your show. I love it. It's good to hear stuff like this instead of what you turn on every morning.
Well, I appreciate that, Flint. Thank you. I appreciate your time. But you guys stick with us. We got more for you coming.